8006. Bob Brogan is now joining us here in the studio as big news today. I suppose maybe not the most surprising news. Bailey Boswell trial has come to an end as the jury deliberated for only a couple hours, and they have found Bailey Boswell guilty on all three charges. As Bob, what does this mean now? And I guess in terms of how long this actually took, I guess was it that long? Was it a big surprise?
I think that it was not a huge surprise. I kind of figured since they came in 3.5 hours that perhaps there was a good chance for guilty verdicts, and that's what they were. I didn't note a lot of reaction from Bailey Boswell. I think she was prepared for whatever the jury was going to deliver, and I think she's probably had some time to think about this. And if you step back a little bit, this was 3 years ago, and she has been incarcerated for 3 years now. And so she has had some time to think about this.
It only took, what, 2.5, 3 hours?
3.5 hours they were out, and usually you're more likely to have a guilty verdict if the jury comes back quickly. Now, that doesn't always prove to be, but a lot of times it is.
And you mentioned you were in the courthouse. You could see what was transpiring once they read guilty, and she really didn't have a lot of emotion on her face.
No, really, I thought that there was going to be some emotion for a second there, but there wasn't really a lot. She looked down at the table or at the floor, and really didn't have a lot of reaction. So that wasn't particularly surprising to me either. She did have some emotions during some of the pictures that were shown to jurors having to do with the disassembled body of Sydney Loofe and that sort of thing. And there was some reaction from her about that, but not really a lot of reaction today.
Bob Brogan is joining us as, again, Bailey Boswell found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of and dismemberment of Sydney Loofe. For the verdict today, what is now next for Bailey Boswell?
Well, they'll set a sentencing date. There's been no sentencing date set yet. However, Aubrey Trail, who is a co-defendant in this case, he is going to be sentenced in December. And so they're probably going to wait until after that to set her sentencing.
Now, remind me, we didn't hear from Bailey Boswell during the trial, correct?
No, she did not take the stand. As a matter of fact, the defense counsel did not put any witnesses on the stand during that phase of the trial.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't really know what the reason would be. I can't get inside the way they laid things out, but they just decided not to put her on the stand or anybody else. They asked for all charges. I should say Todd Lancaster, the attorney for the defense for Bailey Boswell, asked for all the charges to be dismissed, saying that the state did not meet its burden in proving all three counts.
So she will now, I assume, return back to Saline County?
She will be returned to Saline County. Her attorney asked for her to be able to stay in the Dawson County Jail. However, the state objected to that, and the judge overruled the motion to keep her here in Dawson County.
Now, what could be in terms, I know we just kind of mentioned what's next for her, but what is on the table in terms of sentencing as a life? Is the death penalty on the table? What could be for her?
I would imagine that will be a consideration, but you will have a 3-judge panel who I think will take that up. And I would guess that the sentencing will be sometime after December when Aubrey Trail is sentenced. And I don't have the exact date when he's going to be sentenced.
All right, very good. Was there anything surprising? I know you guys did a terrific job covering this for the last several days and weeks, but is there anything surprising to you, or maybe non-surprising, that came away from this trial?
I guess what I will note is the fact that we've had cases before, murder cases, that interest people in this area, but rarely do we have a trial that interests people statewide and maybe even outside the borders of the state, because as you recall, this case crossed state lines. They went into Iowa, and so it did take up some of the deliberations or some of the time of the trial, considering that evidence.
All right, very good. Well, thank you very much, Bob. You and the rest of the news team did a terrific job covering the Bailey Boswell trial for the last, several days and several weeks. Again, if you're just catching up with us, Bailey Boswell found guilty today on first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and improper disposal of human skeletal remains. And we will find out at a later date, sentencing date for her and Aubrey Trail. And Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you.